So Bungie recently hosted a Q&A session on Livestream here, guys, answering questions from the chat about recent concerns about Marathon and also providing some answers of common feedback points that they've got from the alpha. And I gotta say, guys, this livestream, it did not go very well. Bungie spent an hour providing feedback of information, giving us like what the typical feedback points were from the alpha and things like that. But honestly, like a lot of it was just kind of like, we're looking into it, nothing really there to really dissect and really get like a true answer what they're looking to do with this game. A lot of this was just like, we hear you, we're gonna change it, we're looking into it, we're planning to do something about this and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like this game just like seems to have like the subtitle of just like Marathon concepts of a plan. But also this entire live stream was completely kneecapped from being truly effective because of the recent allegations, right, with the copyright issues and stolen art style from Not Real and them being legitimate. But it's not just like specific little bits of assets and decals and things like that. It's like her entire art style was taken by Bungie. Like here's some more art from Not Real, and you can see it's like you would mistake this easily for Marathon style art. So it's not really just like these specific things, which were definitely ripped and definitely have been addressed by Bungie, which we'll talk about in a minute here. But you can see like the entire art style really feels like that would be something like you'd see in Marathon. I just realized the person's name is Anti-Real, Not Real, so sorry about that. But Bungie has looked into this. They've replied to it. They've reached out to Anti-Real to kind of talk about the situation, and they realized like, yeah, it was an ex-Bungie employee who kind of just like ripped the asset, put it into a texture sheet, and just got put into the game, which understandable that Bungie wouldn't be able to like QA that kind of stuff, because like you have to trust your artists. You have to trust the people to do the work that they say they're going to do. Like I bet you Joe Cross didn't know Anti-Real even existed until now. And I have to applaud Bungie for doing the right thing, because this live stream with this entire backdrop, like they gotta talk about the big elephant in the room, and they did that, which I gotta applaud Bungie for doing that. A lot of times studios will kind of just put some negative news underneath the rug, or maybe like the devs themselves won't acknowledge it like in a big platform like this. But yeah, Justice Cross went on and talked about the same situation, like kind of what we heard on Twitter, but kind of put it more like in person, just reading out like a pre-scripted little thing, just talking about like how, yeah, we saw this, we're doing better QA to kind of figure out like how we avoid this kind of situation again, because this is the first time Marathon's been dealing with this, but this isn't the first time Bungie's dealt with copyright issues, with stealing art from people or not crediting people properly. There are a few situations with this when it comes to Destiny as well. But I'm glad to see the team at Marathon manned up and they brought it up, they talked about it. But chat was not letting them off the hook. You can see this image right here. I was like, oh man. You know, Joe's reading that chat right now, just reading all of that all at once. You're like, man, that just can't feel good right now. So because of all these plagiarism allegations and situation going on right now, they weren't actually going to show anything in game that they were planning to show, which I think is the right call, as you don't want to just like show more ripped assets in the game, because people would just be dissecting that like crazy and pointing out, create more of a negative news storm, which would just be a complete mess, right? But ultimately, the stream just kind of felt like a mess, because even if you can't show the game, at least like come in with like a strategized plan to let us know like, yes, this is what's happening. We heard your feedback and this is what we're going to do about it. And that's not what we got with this live stream. A lot of it was just kind of talking about like, yes, we heard your feedback. We're looking into it. We haven't had any concrete things yet, but we're going to be doing this. And it's like nothing really like concrete, like, oh, hey, we heard you didn't like the art. So what we're going to do is that we're going to like change this part of the game and improve this or improve that. They said like, yeah, we made some passes when it comes to the art style, so then it will look better for you guys, especially on the exteriors of Perimeter, which I absolutely agree, because Perimeter, especially on the exteriors of that map, just did not look very good. They were super washed out, very flat. There wasn't really any kind of variations within the texturing or anything like that. I'm not looking for like high-res textures. I'm just looking for something more than just like a flat matte green style. So of course the discussion of prox chat was also brought up, and again, it was another like non-answer, but this is what they had to say about it.
Has the team reconsidered its stance on proximity chat, or exploring other ways to encourage more emergent social interactions between rival players and squads?
Yeah, I think that's one of the areas that we're still brainstorming around, you know, is like, how do you use Signal to other people? Like, you know, the classic friendly, you know, like what's our version of that, you know? Or is there a way that you can use those things in interesting ways between groups right now? We don't have a solution to it just yet, you know, but we are talking through it right now. Yeah.
Like Bungie talks about proc chat like it's like this incredible hill they need to climb, and it's like so difficult to actually implement, but it's like already in the game. You can communicate in game with your team make that exterior to the enemy players as well, especially in a game like Marathon. Like there was one specific situation where I wish I was able to use prox chat in the game, and it would have been very useful because I wasn't trying to kill anybody. I was just trying to do the final exfil. Because what I did, I was hiding behind this box for like the last 3 minutes left of the game, right? This was the last exfil. If I don't make this, I die and I lose all my loot. And I didn't want to kill anybody. I just wanted to just exit. And so what I was doing is hiding behind this box as a void. And then there was no way for me to communicate to anybody else within the area that like I wasn't looking to be a threat to anybody. I just wanted to get out. And most people in that kind of situation, you just kind of go in voice chat and go like, hey, I'm a friendly. Look, I'm walking out with no ammo or anything like that. I just don't want to get killed. And oftentimes people will just be like, especially in Final Exfil, they'll be like, okay, I hear you. We'll just, let's make a truce and kind of get out of here. But I wasn't able to do that. So what I did as a void, hit my camo, sprinted into the exfil with like 1 second left, and we both extracted with the other enemy player that was on the point, just not knowing I was there. And yeah, there were maybe some ways you could probably do it in game, have like a little icon above your head, like maybe a little handshake icon looking that you're like a friendly, right? But nothing really truly gets across the tone of your voice, right? Because some people could be like, oh, I'm friendly, but they might not sound very sincere, right? In that kind of situation. Like Arc Raiders had prox chat and it was fine. I think this is definitely a Sony thing that's really blocking Bungie for really being able to do this. But really, throughout the rest of this live stream, it was answers like that. Like we're looking into it, we're trying to figure it out, but it's like, guys, you're 5 months from release. You better have a good idea of what's to happen and what you guys are gonna do. It really does feel like this game is not ready for release and is just getting pushed out the door, probably because Sony's like, we need a nice little boost for the end of this quarter because we don't really have anything else in the shooter genre that gives us a nice little boost when it comes to income. But I guarantee you, if you release Marathon in this state, it's not going to go well. You're going to need an entire year of live service patches and updates to make this game far more interesting. Also within this live stream, Bungie did insist that this is like an alpha, we're playing out a few things, not everything was in the game, stuff like that, but like what we played was the base experience of Marathon. Like 5 months from now, not much is going to change. And of course, we've been hearing big things like, oh, wait till you play the Marathon map. The Marathon map's so amazing. It's raid-like mechanics. It's going to be such a great experience. But the thing is, that's that high-end gameplay experience that really the majority of players are probably not even going to get a chance to play. And if they do, you got to grind through the core experience, which we played and the alpha, to get to the good stuff, which the core gameplay experience should be what is really good. And then that raid-like map on the Marathon map should be like the cherry on top. Like, okay, this is what really sends it off to be like a 9.5, a 10 out of 10 type of game. But right now, it just kind of feels like a 5 out of 10 kind of game. But the big thing here is that like people are still really interested in Marathon. You can tell that people care. People want this game to be good. It's just that right now, we don't really have a really great experience. The Joes did touch a little bit on extra alien races, right? Because right now, we're just fighting against the UESC robots, and well, they're pretty good to play against. They're like, we would definitely like more variety, right? Because we have Ticks and UAC robots, and that's about it right now. They did mention within this live stream that they are looking to expand upon that, but they basically stated like, hang on, we're gonna get the other alien races in there, especially the 4. And according to Bungie, they're looking to get to that point effectively. It sounds like basically like the 4 are located on the Marathon ship map right now, and that's what we're gonna get to at some point within this game. But like, you don't want to just deal your full hand right at the rip of the game, which I totally understand. You want to let that narrative play out. I think right now, just people who are super into Marathon or want to be, really invested with this game, want more variety, want to know where the 4 at. And basically they said in the game, like, guys, wait, it's going to happen, just like not right now, because we need to build up to that point, which I completely agree. We don't need the 4 right now. Right now, we just need a core gameplay experience that really fits the narrative and fits like what keeps people interested with the game. And right now, you just need to have more variety, I'd say, when it comes to the interactions of the UAC robots. Because yeah, there are snipers, guys with shields and stuff like that, but it's all like on the same playing field, right? There isn't no elevation difference. There isn't different types of experiences of when you're shooting the UAC, right? Think of it like Halo, right? Where you have like things like the hunters, the jackals, the grunts, the elites, like they all play out so differently. You shoot them and interact with those characters so differently, and they're placed different locations on the map. Where in Marathon, they all just kind of feel like they play out the same. And within this Q&A session, that they did say that they are looking to change the AI behavior of the UESC, because basically once one UESC is alerted, every UESC robot that's in that POI gets alerted and rushes you altogether. And so it can be very much like a burden to you when it comes to trying to kill out everything in the POI. So they're looking to change that up a little bit when it comes to the next update of this game to make it so then like, the far left side of the map doesn't, or the POI doesn't get alerted when you kill something on the far right side, just to make things a little bit less of like a swarm of robots as soon as you engage them at all, which would be a much needed fix, right? So then like when you first go into a POI, you have to slay out all the robots, and then after that, just kind of like looting without really much of the way of care or like concern or anything like that. You just want to constantly have the ability to shoot something, right? A big issue I also had when it came to the alpha was how easy it is to res down teammates, right? Because it felt like every time I got a pick, I had to like really press the issue to make sure that they didn't get that revive. You know, sometimes when you get a pick, the guy might be on the rooftop or something like that. You can't really get to them right there at that moment, that they can just go and res that player back up, and it goes to be like back to like a 1v3 and then a 2v3, 3v2, and it kind of just like sways back and forth depending on how fast you can get that res up. And it felt like it was way too easy, and picks didn't really seem like they mattered a whole lot. We're looking to actually change that when it comes to this next update with the game, and Andrew Witz brings that up within the game.
Yeah, the res stuff. We're changing how that works so that, you know, when you actually do get a pick on an enemy crew, they can't res in the time that it takes you to heal to full, which I think was a kind of a big problem. Resing feels a bit too free. We're also taking a look at the messaging. I know that there's the that little the little stick figure above the bags and stuff that we adorably call the little gentleman above the bags. We're looking at that actually being a tell, so you can't just like camp the bags the entire time.
If a person gets downed, resing them, like not downed, but like not completely eliminated, but like downed, right? Like knocked down, resing them in combat is hard, but it's doable. And if they get eliminated, getting them out, like resing them in combat is really, really, really like very almost difficult to do, right? You really want to do it once you've cleared the area. Is that the intent?
Yeah, we want it to be that like doing it in a fight is not as you don't want to take that on as often as you did in the alpha. Like, I think that's something we're seeing is that, like, you saw folks in the middle of a fight go in the back and, like, res somebody. And then, like, now it's, like, the numbers game of it's like, okay, it's 2v3. Okay, now it's 3v3. Okay, now.
And where the game is right now, from what we played from the alpha, like, they try to say, like, no, it's an alpha, you know, not everything's in the game, but, like, the core gameplay experience is what we had there in the alpha. And while the baseline is good, it just needs a lot more to keep people incentivized to keep on playing. Now, we do know that this is not going to be the last time we get a chance to play a marathon. It was brought up here by Paul Tassi, talking about there is going to be like an open alpha available, or open beta, I should say, coming in probably around August is what the time frame they said. I'm assuming we'll probably get some other kind of play sessions mixed in with it. And I also am a marathon creator, therefore, most likely we'll get a chance to play any kind of future alphas or play tests or anything like that. But yeah, this alpha, man, this entire situation, it's been a mess ever since like the alpha's been, you know, made out to the public. I really want this game to succeed. I think there's something there with Marathon that I think will be really fun and engaging and something that people want to jump in and play. But they just need to kind of build the game out a little bit more. And I'm just worried with like the 5-month timetable that they have right now, that I don't really expect a whole lot to change. I mean, minor things like, oh, we developed like a new ping system, or maybe we have enabled prox chat and you have a toggle off option or something like that. That's stuff that we can see change. But when it comes to like brand new maps, or when it comes to like new types of engagements within the world, right? Not much is going to change there. So that's my biggest concern. But I really am hoping for the best for this game. I want this game to succeed because it looks to be fun. I played 46 hours of that alpha. I put my time in and I had a blast. But there is just definitely a lot of room for improvement, and I hope to see that with this alpha. Guys, if you made this far in this video, I hope you earned your like, maybe even a subscribe. If I want to know who the real ones are that made it to the end of this video, leave a green square in the chat right now below, guys, so I know who the real ones are that made it to the end of this video, so I can like your comments, so I know who the guys out there who are helping support the channel the best way possible. But thank you all guys for watching. Greatly appreciate it. Miss any content from me, you can check out this video here. I talked about Marathon, about how Bungie really missed the mark when it comes to this alpha. But thank you guys all for watching. Greatly appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.